BC, what's going on? Welcome back. I'm Mike. This is Hub Tunes. I haven't done a jazz video for a while, so I was sitting around and I was like, I think I'm gonna do a jazz video. First of all, that collection right there, I'm sure you've seen them in my last few videos. This Jazz is Dead label. This is great stuff. All you jazz fans out there, don't sleep on these titles. I think they're up to 8. I just bought the most recent one. Right there. There's 8 of them. I only have 3. Some of the earlier ones, like 1 and 2, are really expensive already. So don't sleep on that series. Really cool. A lot of it's Brazilian jazz. Really groovy. Really, really cool stuff. So check that series out while we're talking about jazz. But that's not why you called. I'm going to do my favorite jazz guitarists. I haven't done a video about jazz guitar. I was introduced to jazz by listening to jazz guitar. Pat Metheny was a big one, early in my early teens, where I was just like, wow, that's a musician's musician. Just a stunning guitarist and making really weird noises out of a guitar. So my jazz history really kind of started and developed with jazz guitar. I love guitar. I love jazz. So that's really kind of where my wheelhouse and my introduction to jazz began, was with guitarists. So we'll do a quick video. These are in no particular order. You guys already probably know my favorite jazz guitarist is a guy named Pat Martino. He is 77. He's still hanging on. He's in pretty bad health, the last I heard. He doesn't play anymore. He doesn't tour. But I've mentioned in several other videos, seen him many times. He is a hard bop guitarist. Usually he plays with a trio. Earlier in his career, he did have like an expanded band with horns and stuff. He did some stuff with many different artists. And I've seen him, gosh, I've probably seen him 8, maybe 10 times. I absolutely love this guitarist. But he's a great guy. But I'll get into that. He's definitely my favorite jazz guitarist. But there's so many good ones. So let's get on with it. One of the first jazz guitarists that I really ever listened to was Al Di Meola. He is still kicking and still touring, and he's not that old. I don't even know how old he is. It's on Columbia. This is Electric Rendezvous. This was the first, probably one of the first jazz guitar records I ever bought, was this album. I absolutely love it. Fusion, late 70s fusion, great stuff. And of course he was also part of this masterpiece. Al Di Meola, John McLaughlin, and Paco de Lucia. Saturday night in, is it Saturday night? Nope, Friday night. Friday night in San Francisco. This is a masterpiece. This is the Impex reissue. I got the 33 1/3. I didn't need the 45 RPM. This sounds wonderful. This is all I needed. I used to have this on, I used to have a beautiful CD box set of this when I was in high school. Just a stunning record. I'm sure a lot of you, most jazz fans know this record, so I mean, what more can I say? It's beautiful. Next up, the incredible Grant Green. This is Nigeria with Sonny Clark, Sam Jones, and Art Blakey on drums. This is just a great record. Is this a Tone Poet? I think this was a Tone Poet. Yeah. Gorgeous record. My favorite era of Grant Green. I love this. And this was, this was right around the same time. This is Matador with McCoy Tyner, Bob Crenshaw, and Alvin Jones on drums, though. This is a Music Matters pressing. Absolutely gorgeous. The sound on this is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah. The awesome Grant Green. I love Grant Green. He's not as flashy. He's just solid. Everything's so solid. His playing on other people's records, and even as a leader, he's just so technically solid. I wish he was a little flashier. That's kind of why I probably gravitate towards somebody like Pat Martino. But, I mean, it's Grant Green. Next up, a guy that I don't think gets enough credit. I've shown him before. This is Tal Farlow. This is a Japanese pressing of his album Tal. Smooth, slick, really, really fundamentally sound, slick guitarist. And I really don't think he gets enough credit. He is really, really good. So Tal Farlow, his album Tal. This is on Verve. Next up, a guy that, as far as jazz goes, I know a lot of jazz people don't like him. I went through a period in my life when I absolutely love this guy. I get why people don't like him. I think his guitar work can be a little overwhelming. It's very squeaky, is probably the best word to describe it. And I think that's why people don't like it. It's not a comforting sound sometimes, and that is John Scofield. This is the amazing live album he did. I don't know what year this was. Not sure what year this was. 1978, and it's on Inner City Records. This is probably my favorite John Scofield. It's got a song called V, a song called Leave. There's only 4 songs. Leaving, Soft as the Morning Sunshine is great. But he's got a great band on here too. This is John Scofield on guitar, Richie Betrich on piano, John Mayer on bass, and Joe LaBarbera on drums. It's a really good live jazz album. If you're gonna buy this would be what I would suggest to get into John Scofield. This live album is fantastic. And then this also I absolutely love is Shinola with Steve Swallow and Alan Nussbaum. This is 1982. 1982. So a little later. Good, solid album. It's digital. Cool record. I understand why people have mixed feelings about John Scofield. I love his album. I Can See Your House from Here with Pat Metheny. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful album that was just released as a tone poet. But those are probably my 2 favorite John Scofield records. He's still making music. I mean, he's done stuff with Government Mule. I do like the Government Mule stuff. I really do. And then he's done stuff with Medeski, Martin and Wood. He's all over. I mean, he's still making great music. He tours a lot. He was at a theater right up the street here about 3 months ago, and I skipped it just because of the pandemic and stuff. But if he comes back, I'll definitely go see him again. I really, really like him. So next up is an absolute master, John McLaughlin. This is the Mahavishnu Orchestra, Birds of Fire. Again, with Pat Metheny and Al Di Meola, this is probably one of the first jazz guitar records I ever bought, and I love this record. This is straight out 70s fusion. This is hardcore fusion. This is awesome. The Mahavishnu Orchestra. Not going to name all the songs. The song Sanctuary, Birds of Fire, Miles Beyond. A lot of this was also on a, this is 1973. A lot of this came out on a live album too, a couple years later, I believe it was, which I have, but I prefer this. This is great, absolute great. If you want hardcore fusion, this album is the one to get. And then another album that also, I wanted to show this because I thought it was really cool. This is Where Fortune Smiles, John McLaughlin. This is a record store release. I don't buy picture discs very often, but check out this picture disc. This thing is beautiful. They did a really nice job with it. I hope you can see this. Look at this picture disc. Is that absolutely stunning? And honestly, it doesn't sound that bad. It actually sounds, it sounds okay. It's a picture disc, and they don't sound as bad as they used to. And I don't buy them. If I get them, they're usually just a collector's item, which I prefer to play my records. I don't want a collector's item. But yeah, this came out Record Store Day a couple years ago, and it sounds great, and the music on here is absolutely terrific. This is John McLaughlin, Where Fortune Smiles. It's got Dave Holland, Carl Berger, Stu Mutton, and John Sermon. Really cool stuff. Next up, the aforementioned Pat Martino. I've shown this record many times because it's awesome. This is East by Pat Martino. It is on, what is he on this one? This is Prestige. He's on Prestige for this album. This came out in, I've shown this album so many times. I am not seeing a date. I don't see a date on here. Yeah, I don't see a date. I want to say 68 or 69. It's Pat Martino on guitar, Eddie Green on piano, Ben Tucker on bass, Tyrone Brown also on bass on one song, and then Lenny McBrown on drums. There are 5 songs. The title track, East, is spectacular. The whole album has an Eastern vibe, so you can tell from the cover. If you want to get into Pat Martino or any jazz guitarist, if you don't know Pat Martino, pick this one up. It's great. It's his best. And it's also the album that I probably fell in love with him on. This is his live album. This is called Pat Martino Live, with Ron Thomas, Tyrone Brown again, and Sherman Ferguson. This is 1972 it was recorded. 3 songs. Special Door on the first side is 20 minutes long. Side B is The Great Stream and Sunny. The version of Sunny on here is the greatest thing you'll ever hear. It is absolutely spectacular. He also plays it every single time I've seen him. Wonderful record. This is on Muse Records. If you like live jazz, and a lot of people do, this is wonderful. Next up, I'm not going to show. I'm trying to show different records. I mean, obviously, I could show for Kenny Burrell. I could show Midnight Blue, obviously, but Midnight Blue is probably one of the great jazz records of all time. Probably in my top 5. But this is also up there. This is Kenny Burrell Quintet with John Coltrane. This is a rockin' album. This thing is great. This is on Prestige. Wonderful, wonderful record. Kenny Burrell on guitar, John Coltrane on tenor, Tommy Flanagan on piano, Paul Chambers on bass, and Jimmy Cobb on drums. Awesome, awesome stuff. This is a wonderful pressing. This thing is mint. This thing sounds great. Absolutely great. This is John Coltrane, or Kenny Burrell with Quintet with John Coltrane. And I'm going to show this because this is a later Kenny Burrell album. This is probably mid-70s. This is probably 79, December of 79. This is called Moon and Sand, and it is a beautiful, beautiful album. It's not bop. It is but it's not fusion either. It's just a really pretty album. It's really pretty, and it's really well done. This is Concord Jazz. It's on Concord Jazz. I love their inner sleeves. I think those are so cool. Their inner sleeves are awesome. Sorry, I like inner sleeves, apparently. But I just think that their inner sleeves are really cool. Great album. Really underrated. This is Kenny Burrell on guitar, Roy McCurdy on drums, John Hurd on bass. John Hurd is a wonderful bass player. Kenneth Nash on drums. It is a really good late career Kenny Burrell album. I highly recommend getting this. This is also it's not easy to find. This was actually kind of difficult to find. It was not cheap either, from what I remember. Next up, another guy who really got me into bop is Wes Montgomery. My favorite Wes Montgomery stuff is the stuff that he does with Wynton Kelly and the Wynton Kelly Trio. This album especially, Smoking at the Half Note. This is the Analog Productions that just came out a couple years ago. This is the 45 RPM. It's, first of all, sound quality on this is probably the best you'll ever hear. It's unbelievable. I don't know if it's out of print yet. My guess is it's still in print, but it's going to be a while before any new ones come out. You got Wes Montgomery on guitar, Wynton Kelly on piano, Paul Chambers on bass, Jimmy Cobb on drums. This thing is absolutely spectacular. I'm saying that a lot. I'm using that word a lot when it comes to these guitarists, but these are some of the best guitarists who ever lived. This is also great. This is Smokin' in Seattle, live at the Penthouse. This is Wynton Kelly Trio, again with Wes Montgomery. This was a Record Store Day release on Renaissance. Cool, great photo, great inner photo. Again, see the lineup. This comes with a beautiful book too. Great shot. Great shot. And then you got Wynton on the back. Interview on the inside here. Jimmy Cobb, Ron McClure, and Wynton Kelly, and Wes Montgomery. Fantastic. This is a really nice release. This was Record Store Day quite a while ago. I don't remember. It was quite a few years ago. Probably, I'm guessing, out of print. But if you see it, grab it. Another great live Wynton Kelly Trio album. Next up, is this my last one? Nope. Close to my last one. This is George Benson. George, still alive. Great guitarist. Does not get enough credit. This guy is so underrated. This is the new boss guitar of George Benson with one of my favorites, with brother Jack McDuff. I love Jack McDuff. I think he's fantastic. Really, really good. This is on Prestige. This is not a great pressing. It's okay. I shouldn't say that. It's on Prestige. It's a good pressing. It sounds great. I don't see a better copy coming in to my possession anytime soon. So whatever. It's a good placeholder. George Benson on guitar, Jack McDuff on piano and organ, Red Holloway on sax, Ronnie Boykins on bass, and Montego Joe on drums. Great album. Really, really cool. Shorter songs, but yeah, great jazz guitar. Really underrated, George Benson. And this is the last one. The guy who got me into jazz overall, especially jazz guitar. This is Pat Metheny Group. This is the debut with Lyle May, the great Lyle Mays, Mark Egan, and Dan Gottlieb. This is the debut. Probably my favorite. It's on ECM because I'm sure know that Pat Metheny's on ECM. He pretty much built ECM. This is probably my favorite. I like Bright Size Life. Of the Pat Metheny group, this would probably be my favorite. It's edgier. It's got a little. I don't want to say it's harder rock. It's got a little more of an edge than some of the later stuff that sometimes is a little overproduced. But this is really, really good. Such a great record. And this is my favorite of his solo records. I think I've mentioned this before in other videos. This is New Chautauqua. This is, if you like acoustic, beautiful Spanish guitar work, this is your album. It is all Pat. This is all Pat, only Pat. This is from 1979. Pat plays, okay. Pat Metheny, electric 6 and 12 string guitars, acoustic guitar, 15 string harp guitar, and electric bass. He does it all, and that's all you need to know. It is a beautiful, beautiful record. The title track, New Chautauqua, is beautiful. Country Poem is wonderful. Side 2 has Hermitage on it, which he would do a lot on live. I've seen him do that several times. And the song Daybreak, I've also seen him play live many, many times. So my favorite solo Pat Metheny record, and my favorite Pat Metheny group record. And I think I'm going to see Pat Metheny, and he's coming to town. He's coming to town in like November. I have tickets for it, so hopefully that tour doesn't get canceled. Because he's playing at a tiny like rock club. He's not playing. Usually when Pat Metheny comes, he plays at a place called Ravinia, out in the suburbs, which is kind of like a bring your cheese and wine kind of place. Or he plays at Symphony Center, which is obviously where symphonies play. So this club is very strange. I haven't seen Pat Metheny in a club like this probably since the 80s. So it should be a really cool show. Looking forward to that. So those are my favorite jazz guitarists. There might be a few more, but those are the ones I pulled. I think that really kind of covers most of them. I can't think of anyone else. There's a few people. The guy who plays with in the Delvon Lamar trio, I forget his name. He's really, really good. Delvon Lamar is great. I love that trio, and they are so much fun live. If you ever get a chance to see the Delvon Lamar trio live, definitely go check them out. They're really, really cool. And his guitarist he's a character, and he's a wonderful, wonderful guitarist. I should have shown him, but I didn't. And I guess that's it. So, questions, comments, snide remarks in the comments section. You guys have a great week and stay safe, and I will see you soon. I got a bunch of stuff coming up. I'm trying to figure out another way. I'm trying to figure out a way to show more records from behind me, just like random polls, but I don't want to do a whack-a-mole, if you know what I mean. So maybe I'm working on a couple ideas to try and figure out maybe a way of pulling random records. I could just walk over there and pick random records, but we want to come up with something a little fun and creative. So we'll see. I don't know. Thinking of all kinds of new things. We got some ideas. You guys stay safe. I'll talk to you soon.